of technology. And I loved what one of our colleagues said earlier this week, where she was talking about how we're so connected in this day and age, and yet somehow we're also so lonely. So what I decided to do, I felt that dissonance, I felt that discomfort, and so 4 years ago now, I decided to travel the United States. I drove 12,000 miles by myself in order to interview our oldest living citizens, because to me, the people who understand best how technology has changed everything are the people who lived before electricity, running water, motor vehicles were the norm. So they can literally understand, like, this is how humans have lived for thousands of years, and now in this short period of time, everything has changed, and I wanted to really hear what they had to say about it. For 6 weeks and 40 states, I did little else besides interview and sleep and drive. I met people in their homes, in coffee shops, in community centers, anywhere that they would feel safe meeting a stranger who wanted to hear their stories. I found the people through networking, because at the time I'd been an entrepreneur for several years and I understood how to find people, even though they may not truly know who I was. And I found today that there's a little bit of irony, because I have spent so many years working with their stories in order to make this book a reality, but I only actually spent an hour with them. And so I mailed them their copy of the book as a thank you, so they get a free copy, and their response half the time is, "I don't even remember meeting you." So to me, you know, it's been a different experience. What we know about in-person communication compared to technological communication is this. When we interact with each other in person, our bodies release pleasure hormones like dopamine and oxytocin, but our bodies also have the ability to heal the ends of our DNA. They're called the telomerase, literally extending our lives. The telomerase is what gets shorter every single time your cells replicate. And when we interact with each other in person, we're hugging, we're talking, we're making eye contact, we're smiling. Our DNA is healing. This doesn't happen when we socialize online. And we choose to socialize online because it seems easier. We do it multiple times a day. Now think about how many times a day you've chosen to socialize online. You're texting, you're messaging, you're on Facebook, you're posting photos. How many moments a day in your life you could have interacted with another human being, and likely would have before technology hit? And think about the physical experiences that we're now lacking. So this is why I theorize that depression, suicide, anxiety are on the rise. And in the United States, what we found is that 25% of Generation Z, our youngest generation, is experiencing anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, compared to older generations, which only were experiencing 18% of these conditions. So we're experiencing definitely the effects of technology. So what does this mean for you, especially if you're a businesswoman, which I think a lot of you probably are? How many of you have a business or have thought about having a business, or even are in a business environment, right? Yeah. So especially for being in business, but you can do this in your personal life as well, start to think about how technology is appearing in your life. So we know that technology is designed, especially Facebook and social media, it's designed to be addictive. They need us to look at it in order to make money. So they're not making the decisions for us to be healthy with it. It's up to us to decide. So think about how you want to actually use it. What are you using it for? Why does it matter that you use it? Do you actually need it? Do you need to be on social media? If so, why? And then when? So I'm an entrepreneur coach. I work with clients all over the world, and sometimes they'll say to me, I don't want to be on social media because it's a time suck, right? And so I say, okay, why not just do it 1 hour every day? And then don't touch it the rest of the time. And same with your email. Just 1 hour a day, don't touch it the rest of the time. Because we're being trained to think that we have to be on it all the time. But you don't. The world will still turn if you're not on it. And then think about some of the old ways that we used to do business, where we used to interact with people. We used to go next door when a new neighbor moved in, and we would bring them food, right? we would bring them something to say, welcome to the neighborhood, welcome to being my neighbor, I want to know you. In the United States, we're not doing that very much anymore. I can imagine probably it's the same around the world. What about in business? We used to send gift baskets when we would close a deal. We would certainly make more phone calls. We might even send thank you letters. We're not doing that so much anymore, we're simply sending them. But what I've found is that when I meet with my clients in person, or I get on a phone, or send them a birthday card, a thank you card, anniversary card, they respond better, and I make more money. So it's worth the extra time investment to nurture those relationships, because then your business and your life itself is more nurtured. You get the physical benefits we just talked about, but you also get the business benefits as well. What I found by interviewing our elders is just this. It's not that our elders are unable to use technology. They'll say, I don't want to learn to text. Us younger people tend to hear that and think, okay, they're saying they can't text message, so this whole entire generation doesn't know how to text message. But that's not true. They're saying, I don't want to. I'm choosing not to, because I don't see how it will benefit my life. They're much more intentional with how technology appears for them in their worlds. And let me be honest, there's one man that I interviewed, and he has more Facebook friends than I do. And he travels around the world to meet them, and they're strangers to him. And he still just goes to travel. And I don't know about you, but I would not jump on a plane to meet somebody I've never met. And he does it. So our elders are taking technology on, but in the way that they see it will benefit them best. And that's what I want for you. You can reclaim your time, you can reclaim your relationships, but it's up to us to choose what it will look like. Can I answer any questions?
Is this your main business?
My main business is coaching other entrepreneurs. So I actually look at this project as a business itself, where I had to do a Kickstarter. I had to find supporters. I had to find people to network to interview, to put me up to sleep, and then find a publisher, and then market the book once it was out. So I think of that as its own business, one of many that I've started. And so I do coach people to start their own books or to start their speaking careers, but mainly I'm coaching them to start a business itself, and then usually the book and the speaking is helping the business grow. Yeah. Yes.
This is a very, very close to the heart topic and a big pain point, I would say. At least personally, to speak for me, I'm an author, and I have had a very difficult long-term relationship with technology, because frankly, to allow myself, as they call in psychology, flow, to allow myself that seclusion and that immersive experience to
yes.
Get the best in me, to be able to find and write.
Yes.
I just do not only need to step away from technology for a good chunk of time, but also develop a habit of maybe just shut out of it of
Absolutely.
my life.
Absolutely.
While on the other hand, obviously, we no longer remain in a world where authors or writers or artists are secluded and they live on mountaintops in a wooden cottage and people would only hear tales about
Yeah.
it. You have to really be out in the market, dress up and speak and impress. So it's a brand building. It's almost like when you asked, "Are you in business?" I was like, "Am I?" So.
Yeah.
It is a kind of entrepreneurship in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously my publisher does his work, but still he needs me to be around in terms of whatever
Right.
it takes
Exactly.
to build a brand. What is your suggestion or advice for people who are in art or creativity in terms of their span of attention versus their
Yeah.
brand image?
Absolutely. So I recommend to people who have to do work like this, where writing, you have to have that focus. And personally, I'm actually very thankful for this conference, because I can go and sit in the lounge area in the lobby, and there's nothing else. My home isn't there to distract me. I'm not on the social media. So I can actually, I'm working on my second book, and I can focus. I have my manuscript, I write by hand. So I have my manuscript with me, and I'm writing, so if you ever see me writing, that's what I'm doing. I instruct my clients to do whatever you need to do most first in the day. So for some of my clients, they have children, so first thing doesn't happen for them because first thing means the kids are jumping on the bed. But when you finally get to the place where you're working on your work, then do what you have to get done first, or most first. And really specifically with writing, even if you're blogging or creating content, the earlier times of the day is usually when your mind is more clear because you haven't been chasing around all of the emails and the putting out the fires and things like that. So that would be my main recommendation for you. If you feel like it's really hard, if you're feeling like just like really unsure about how to do it, you're feeling burnt out or whatever, set yourself a limit of like 5,000 words or something like that every morning. And it doesn't matter if you feel like you have more energy that morning to keep writing, don't keep writing. Just end once you hit that mark so that the next day you still have energy left. That's a mistake that a lot of authors make. Is that they want to keep writing because they think it's about motivation, and it's like rarely about motivation. It's about making the real time to do it.
5,000 is sky high anyway. So
yeah, whatever works for you,
yeah,
you know?
I know.
But yeah.
My question is relevant to the topic. It says emotional and social connection in the age of technology.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst you did speak about your journey with 12,000 miles in the US with the elders, I also heard you talk about your journey. And I'm more keen to know what does your book talk about? Because when you interviewed, I saw the list of questions that you had to interview your elders.
Yeah.
So I'm more keen to know, how are they socially and emotionally connected? Do they form their own groups? Or
A little
do they
bit.
want to be connected to their grandchildren?
Yeah.
How does that happen? I'm more keen on that.
So intergenerationally, I heard a lot of lamentation where they would say, I wish that my grandchildren would get off the technology when they come to visit, especially the really young ones. They use it like a crutch almost. And so they're really focused here, and then their grandparents are like, hi, hello, I want to know you, I want to pass on the wisdom, and so I think my next work is actually going to be with the younger generation in order to kind of wake them up a little bit. One of the women I interviewed was really interesting because she and her husband kind of rode the technology train. So they had the flat screen TV, they had tablets, they had laptops, they had the mobile, they had everything. And she said that she noticed that they would be sitting in the living room together. One would be on laptop, the other one would be on tablet. So they're physically together, but they're mentally not in the same room at all. And finally, they noticed that they were growing apart because our elders have the luxury of having lived for a time before technology. So they know what life used to be like. They know that something was up. And she said what they decided to do is intentionally, so again, coming back to intentionality, going out at least once a week on dates without technology. So they're actually going to a restaurant or a museum or an event and they don't take any technology, so they're really spending time with each other. She's taken it one step further where she started doing tea parties monthly with her friends too, and they're not allowed to bring technology to the tea party. They have a little basket at the front door and they just put their technology in the basket and then they spend time focused on each other. And I heard that from a couple of different people I interviewed where there's just a basket at the front door and they say, you don't get to bring it in. It stays there. We're here to actually spend time with one another. Here's a cookie, you know? Like, you
So
can't
in all your experiences, you never felt technology helped people to be connected emotionally?
It does and it doesn't. So it's the intentionality piece of it. So like, how are you using it? So for me, I would not know my family in Croatia if I didn't have Facebook, you know? So like, I'm so connected to my heritage. I can speak my language much better than I would otherwise because my grandmother died when I was younger. I've been able to travel and see things I never would have seen without technology.
Right.
So it helps me stay connected with people that I've met around the world, like even at this conference. So that is definitely there.
Is your intentionality when you want to be emotional?
But yeah, if I want to talk to you, like I'm not also here typing, right? I'm looking you in the eye and I want to actually know what you have to say. And so it's the, like when we're physically in front of each
I'm a
other.
complete evangelist of that, so I am looking at you as well, so I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. And so then the middle ground then is what I was talking about with business or even just like your neighbors. Like it may seem easier to just send them email, but could it be that you could send a card? Or could it be that you set up a meeting and actually see them in person?
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else I can say? I mean, I could keep going. Thank you so much, everyone. And I'll have business cards at the end too.
Yes, please. Are you sending your books also? Are you sending your books?
Not here. I couldn't get them here.
Hi everyone. I think whether technology is a boon or a bane will be like a perennial debate that can go on and on forever, right? Because it has its own advantages and disadvantages. So it's almost like the chicken and the egg story, which came first, right? So I was, when Veronica was speaking, there were a lot of points which I think all of us in this room would resonate with, and something which Vanita was also asking, and you also asked about, how do you kind of differentiate that personal and the professional time, right? Now, I am an entrepreneur who has made Bangalore her second home. I'm actually from Delhi, and my entire family is here. But, what you said just about how you stay connected with family because of technology, I think, yeah, that's how probably we best utilize it, right? Staying in touch, whether it's via Facebook or WhatsApp, whatever mode that we prefer. But then I also do see the challenge because I am a mother of a single child. I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I have heard her complaining many a times, Mama, you don't have time for me, you don't pay attention because you're always on your phone. Because being an entrepreneur, you're typically, almost working all your wake up hours, so it does happen. So intentionally, where you put a hard stop, I think that's what is required. But then I also work with older adults as part of Silver Talkies. So Silver Talkies is an organization which has been working with seniors 55 and above. And our idea has been to promote active aging through our work, to keep them productively engaged through events and workshops and the seniors clubs that we run there in Bangalore. And my experience with technology with regards to them actually has been quite interesting. So much so that, for example, very recently, a few months ago, father of a dear friend wandered away because he is a person with dementia. He wandered away in broad daylight, and frantic efforts with a brigade of friends and colleagues really bore no results because we really didn't know where he had gone. And dementia means he had a memory loss, right? He did not know what his address was, where he had to come back. But then a WhatsApp message, which was put into circulation during the day, kind of brought them a call late in the night from the police station saying that your father has been found. He's been brought to the police station by an auto driver, which probably he had hailed from somewhere. And that WhatsApp message alerted that auto driver that the senior citizen is confused and he's lost. So that guy, the gentleman, the elderly gentleman, was far away from home. They have no idea how he reached there, what brought him there, but they managed to get him back. So that is also the kind of boon we are talking about when we talk about technology, right? Another senior citizen that I know of, very recently she's completely mentally astute, perfectly healthy. She got locked in her bedroom for no apparent reason at all, and she could not find her way out, and she did not have her phone on her. Just luckily for her, her daily help was still in the house, who could alert the son and the other association, in the apartment to come and help her out. And such were the after effects of that her son actually invested in buying her a wearable device, which could, in any case of any emergency, the family could be sounded off. She was not left alone because many seniors these days live alone, right? So with all the disbanding of the joint families, mushrooming of the nuclear families, that's the hard reality that we face today, that seniors are by themselves, either by choice or by default, but they are alone. A survey reveals that almost like every fourth elderly in India lives by themselves, and almost every second elderly is just with their spouse. They're not with their families anymore, right? So that's where I think technology is coming to their help. Yes, to a very, which is also very realistic. What Veronica pointed out was they're also very disconnected in the sense that when grandchildren come, they're always on their tabs or they don't have time. But then the other reality is they are utilizing technology to stay in touch, right? So facilities like telemedicine, wearable devices, or even cab hailing facilities or food ordering apps, and all those things have actually come to the forefront to help the senior citizens out who really do not have these facilities available to them. But yes, it does require a lot of education in terms of making them aware of frauds and other kind of things, how to use technology to their advantage and not be exploited by it, right? So there are, I think, there are a lot of ways to stay, emotionally and socially connected. But yes, there has to be probably a hard stop at certain point where we say, okay, only this much is good enough for me and not more than that. So that's actually what I wanted to talk about, because from my experience, it can be a boon, while it can be a bane in many cases. So that's all. Thank you. Anybody who wants to share their own experiences, I think we can actually, since we have time, we don't have the third speaker with us.
Yeah, I just want to
Yeah, please.
Hi, myself is Preeti Arora. I'm from Original Organics. I've created my own brand, and I prepare Original Organics beauty products, all the hair, skin and hair products. And they are totally organic without no chemical preservatives, no synthetics in that. So I can say it is a boom, and my son, younger son, although I'm not prepared for it, since I've heard both of them, so I want to share my experience. Just 2 minutes. My younger son is abroad. He is doing his degree in health. He is in University of Waterloo in Canada, and hardly a day or two when most of the times he is busy with his studies and all. So whenever I have a FaceTime, it's okay. 2-3 दिन निकल जाते हैं, 2-3 days are passed, and I am not able to see. I feel like, nahi yaar, I'm going to Canada. So it is a blessing that ways. And when I talk about my products, I put it on Facebooks, my WhatsApp messages. I have launched a night cream, foot cream, and all. Hardly any people comes over. So what I decided is, I have covered all the clubs, ladies clubs of Ludhiana. Basically, I'm from Delhi, but got married in Ludhiana. So I've covered all the ladies clubs of Ludhiana. When you go to ladies club and explain what my thing is, eye contact and everything, then you, every day, in every 2-3 hours, most of the times I just sell up all my products. So the thing is that there you need face to face. I explain that, yeah, this is this, buy this, I make guarantees and all. But when you put it on Facebook, and a lot of people are selling a lot of things, and your skin and hair are so important that if you see any ad, you won't go and buy anything. I have seen an ad, so I go and buy. So at that time, when you personally meet someone and you explain what my thing is, how different it is, there it makes a difference. Or people remember you. Yes, we have heard you in that club, we have heard your talk. So both the things, it always depends on you, where you want to fit it and where you have to go and make your personal relationships. Thank you.
No, in fact, I know many seniors who are using social media as as a platform to showcase. So many of these are like second-career, chosen entrepreneurs.
I think I'm even going to take a step behind. The point is that tech is the reality.
Yes, it is.
Virtual, it's
It's only going to
paradoxical.
progress further.
It's paradoxical,
Yeah.
but the truth is that tech is the reality. So the point is, I am a master practitioner of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So I don't wait either in person or on phone. You just have to say your emotion. So like today I had a conversation with my son who's 10-year-old. He was going to a birthday party and I wasn't there. And he told me, Mama, I'm actually missing you and I'm upset about it. So he's able to talk his emotion on the phone. And so am I. The point is that we can, wait and like you rightly said, boon or bane. That is a reality like chicken and egg, never ending. But the point is you got to be also looking at ways where we can educate either younger, Veronica, when you go back and you're going to do that fabulous job of awakening the younger ones. But the point is that, not ain't preaching, but the point is that, how connected you are to reality, and that is technology. And the point is, how do you want to talk about it? That's the key.
Yeah.
So you need to be flexible in getting either younger or older. And today I know a lot of elder people, like you rightly said, who are more super flexible, way ahead in tech than me. So I'm like in between. So the point is, it's fabulous. Like now that you guys are ambassadors, you're dealing with two fantastic worlds. Especially you're dealing with two varied people. And you can be that really evangelist in telling that it's not about the technology, it's about how open are you to even speak up your emotions. Doesn't matter which platforms.
How you're going to
Yeah,
use it.
sometimes you pick up emotions even on an email. You know the email wasn't
But
good or happy
emails
or
actually
excited.
can result in.
And that's the whole
I mean, the
point.
experience is you can hear the tone.
And I agree.
Yeah.
So, have you ever gone back and checked?
No,
That's the point.
yeah.
So we assess, but we don't go back. That's my point of view. So it's interesting, but that's reality as well.
It's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
It's up to us to
Exactly. Yeah.
It's up to us how we
I
use
couldn't,
it.
I couldn't run my business without
Yeah.
it. But I also have
Can
to know.
can we survive without this for a single day? No.
I would like to.
Can.
I would
I
like
can be
to.
totally
I want to go to the
No,
No,
retreat
when you
center.
have to go, since I have to move back, I needed for a cab, booking and all this. So these kind of things I'm saying, not for gossip purpose and all. But we are dependent a lot on these
It's
things.
about detoxing, so that's fabulously relevant.
Yeah.
What about your thoughts?
Sorry, I missed a lot of conversation before. I mean, I'm actually working in the field of sexuality, and I'm an emotional detox body worker. Yeah. So I work with a lot of emotions for people. You know, I create a space for the whole emotion to come out. And I'm actually writing a book which is on orgasm, but my next book is actually on sex and technology. So
I need to connect you to my client because he's a sex coach in New York City, and so you guys should talk.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh wow.
So I think from what I've heard, I agree with most of the points that have been made. That social media is used for business, but I share a lot of my vulnerability on social media, and the reason I do it
Exactly.
is because I'm inviting others to come and play with their vulnerabilities. You know, there was a time a couple of years ago where people were saying, "Oh, Facebook had just become photo sharing," you know, or there's nothing else happening. I said, "Okay, let me be that person." So what I say is that whenever I'm talking, I'm actually connected with my emotions all the time.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So so that's more important. That's the awareness a lot of people don't have because we spend a lot of time on our head. You know, our life requires that.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like your point. In fact, whenever I'm on Facebook, I see how many people have started with feeling.
Yeah.
And very rare I see feeling.
Yeah.
People don't say I'm feeling excited. And Facebook gives you a range of plethora of feelings. Even if you don't want to, you just have to go click. But very rare I see, that's what I was really looking at when you were talking about emotion, social connection, technology. Tech gives you, but at least are you aware to use them? Like you rightly said.
Then another factor that will come in is when you do that, you will see a lot of people will get likes for good photos and all that, but not many share for this. And you know, I'm doing this for myself.
Absolutely.
So
To stay with it.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, I found in my research that 1 in 10 people are checking their smartphones during sex.
Oh, you kidding?
I mean, how this
That's
is.
how addicted we are.
I do a lot of workshops around. So I'm actually based in London, and now my goal is to come and do education around sexuality in India, because you know Kama Sutra came from India, but we don't talk about these things, right? And I educate men that how can you actually have a love making or a sex with somebody if you're on the phone? Right?
But yes, it
No,
is.
I was
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I do workshops for men, educating men. That's a big problem in itself because men don't admit that they need education. You know, whereas, so I have to do that too, but it's so true.
Thank you for your work.
I know you really have some women out there.
I'm actually teaching a sexuality workshop when I get back to the United States. We need to
Sure.
talk about all this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is a great room.
Yeah.
It is indeed.
I don't think we're going to debate.
Both you and me are like
Yeah.
Doing the pros and the cons.
We're just
So
hanging
when-
out. We're
both
just hanging
women
out.
are doing such fab job.
I know. I love what you're doing. I wish that, yeah, 'cause, like I got to spend time with the elders, but kind of just like in glimpses. And now I'm out promoting my book, and we still get to spend time with them all the time.
It's really gratifying. It's really, really gratifying to work with them.
Yeah. And
There's
there's
wise
always so
every day.
you just learn so much.
And to see them really having a hearty time. Like I have had workshops like modern dance workshop and theatre workshops oh, the energy they bring to the room, it's unimaginable, you know. So it's really wonderful working with them.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Photo? Yeah, let's take a group photo.
Oh, yes.
Get my phone.
And with the,
Make sure I don't forget to.
my face is, oh, I love this. I know some.